about 3/8 of an inch in from the edge. After I drilled that second set of holes for the dowels on the leg, I saw the issue immediately. The holes overlap perfectly, which meant that I'm going to have to drill completely through the first dowels when I'm joining the second ones. I should have offset one set up a bit and the other set down a bit, to at least keep some of the dowel intact when I re-drill that second set. But I pressed forward with the assembly, unfettered with trivial concerns such as structural integrity. Before assembling the sides, I wrapped the ends of the rails with blue tape to protect them from glue squeeze out. Then I applied a liberal amount of glue to the dowels, probably way too much, and I started assembling, hammering and clamping everything together. Doing a glue up like this always feels like a race against the clock, hoping that I can get it all clamped up tight before the timer runs out and I fall into a big pool of partially gelled glue. Sounds like a woodworking game show, but it's just a glue up. After getting the side assemblies and the clamps, I switched back over to working on the top and the shelf. I started removing the dried epoxy with a card scraper, and I came to my senses and I used a block plane and I made short work of it. When all the big globs of epoxy were flush with the rough glued up surface, I went over to my Jet 1836 drum sander to flatten the panels. Now I know a drum sander is an expensive luxury in a wood shop, but my goodness, it is a sweet, sweet luxury to have. Now with the panels flat, I needed to cut them to final length and do some edge treatments. And since I've pretty much blown the whole DIY aspect of this project out of the water, I whipped out another expensive luxury, my Craig ACS table and track saw. Now, this setup is perfect for cutting large panels square. Of course, this could be done with a circular saw on a straight edge, just like the tops could be flattened easily with a belt sander. But that's a total lie. Flattening a tabletop with a belt sander is a huge pain in the butt. And if you're using a belt sander, I'd highly recommend using some biscuits or dowels for the top to make sure those joints are as flat as possible coming out. And next, I put a nice profile on the underside of the top with a 45-degree chamfer bit. I love the look of a chamfered top, and it really goes well with those leg tapers. I lowered the router bit a little, and I put a smaller chamfer on the lower shelf. And the chamfer couldn't be too big on this one because of the fit with the lower shelf supports, which you're going to see during assembly. And when the side assemblies were dry, you can see exactly what I meant about the lower dowels. They completely blocked the dowel holes for the long stretcher. And using the same bit that I did for the dowels, I drilled out each hole. And you can see there's a tiny bit of dowel left around the edge of the hole, but if they were shifted like I said, you'd have a lot more support there. Now the last part of the puzzle was fitting that lower shelf.